So yeah, talking about the Indian stereotypes, right? It's very hard to convince our family members that I want to go into this entrepreneurial journey. How did you do that? There must be some very stressful days, right? So, what are your ways to de-stress yourself? What do you do? So, hello and welcome to the new episode of Behind the Boardroom. And joining us today is Saurav Kumar Sinha, who is the founder and CEO of India's biggest hostel and PG booking app. So, hi Saurav, it's a pleasure to have you. So, please tell us something about yourself and Homversity.
Hi, Ritesh. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for having me on this show. As you introduced Homversity in one line, that it is India's largest hostel and PG booking platform. In a nutshell, yeah, you can say that, but it is way more than that. It's a complete set of services from food to maintenance to property management to searching and booking and a lot more. So not just searching and discovery, but from check-in to check-out, the entire process happens through us. So it's the complete ecosystem. We're trying to organize India's student housing industry. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Being a student myself, I understand what are the struggles that we face while finding the best PG or something places around that. So let's start right away without wasting any time. So, sort of my first question is, how did you get the idea of Homversity?
Right. So
What was that incident that gave birth to that?
So I got my admissions finally in UPS Dehradun, and just 2 days before the counseling and the final orientation, I got a mail that boss, you need to find an off-campus accommodation. In-campus seats available nahi hai. That to girls are given the first priority to. So find a place on yourself, and that's where the problem started. My grandfather is a techie, and he started searching on Facebook and other platforms कि कोई कहीं से कोई link मिल जाए for property, but वो मिली नहीं, right? And eventually the property we ended up, और जो promises और कस्में वादे किए थे property owner ने वो छूटे निकले once we went there. And हमें समझ में आया कि the entire ecosystem का पूरा सारे processes काफी unorganized है. From discovering a place to making the payment, from refund policies, from property standardization, helpline services, कुछ नहीं था, right? एंड आज से 5 साल पहले 6 साल पहले होटल इंडस्ट्री भी एक ऐसी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के थ्रू गुजरी. टुडे रितेश, आप फ्लाइट के टिकट्स एयरपोर्ट पे जाके बुक नहीं करते हैं, होटल्स रिसेप्शन पे जाके बुक नहीं करते हैं. The same thing is happening, and that's what we're seeing in the hostel industry, that people try to make the decision beforehand. Yeah, they want to see the place. वो होता है कि they want to see the place, but they are willing to jot down their options to a couple of most preferred options before they go and roam around the city. So they don't want to roam around the city. किसके पास उतना टाइम नहीं, आपके पेरेंट्स के पास उतना टाइम नहीं, हमारे पेरेंट्स के पास उतना टाइम नहीं. So what we do is filter, become the funnel for them कि वो sort out करके best options पर पहुंचे, and after that they can book them initially.
Amazing. That's a really good initiative, and I hope you expand to the international audience very soon.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a national problem, it's an international problem.
It is. Yeah.
Since you're a founder, right?
Yeah.
You must be going through a lot of challenges in your daily life and everything is there. So what was the biggest challenge that you faced during the early phase of your startup?
See, when we talk about the early phase of when the company was being incorporated, the company was not even incorporated. It was in the idea stage, right? The biggest challenge was because this is a 2018, 2019 we are talking about, right? 2017, 2018, when not like today that everybody knows about startups in India. It was a very new thing. Not even our parents were very accustomed by the name of by the term startup. Even a lot of university didn't even had a incubation center or an e-cell, right? It was a very new thing, and at that point of time, going to the final year of your engineering and opting out of the placement seasons so that you can start your own company, a lot of convincing had to take place in order to beat parents. But and you know how relatives work out in this. They used to come to my place.
Yeah. That's
it might turn out to be a waste of time. What you're doing, sort of, a lot of people follow you, a lot of your siblings follow you. Do something big. Now I realize I made the right choice by not listening to them and listening to my parents, who were very supportive. So the biggest challenge was we come from a middle class family, right? So that mindset was establishing that mindset was the biggest challenge at the early stages.
You can't start anything alone, right? You need people with you. So if you have to start once again, if you go back in time, if you start once again, so will you start it with your friends or will you start it with some professionals or the strangers that you know?
I'll cutting to the chase. I will never start a business with my friends. Okay,
Why?
that's a life learning I have got. I have gone through because when I started the company was formed on the basis that okay, it would be a bunch of roommates who would be starting a company. There was no perspective that it would end up to be such a big thing, right? So what we did, we named 4 5 of our roommates and neighboring roommates, and we incorporated the company. But we eventually realized that it is very hard to get something done by your friends, especially work. Right? When you ask questions, the method or the medium of answer gets a little bit informal, and that informal medium will work out till you don't have investors. Once you have investors, things will have to be formalized. There has to be a structure, and when you turn from a college project, that it's all right. But when you shift to a nationwide company, not the right move to open a company with friends. So it is always a kind of a barrier of because they are your friends. Huh? You cannot point them out on their mistakes publicly, right? But sometimes you have to do it so that they don't repeat it. That when you start doing it, it generally ruins up your friendships also. So it's better to keep those two things different. Do not merge it up.
Yeah, I have seen that. Like, it's very difficult to point out mistakes in your friend. They start pointing out mistakes in you.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, if I have done this wrong, what have you done right?
exactly.
And when I started to do what I have done right, so this is some sort of a, what do we call, a bond or a miscommunication between us that I have also experienced it firsthand. So that's why I asked you this question.
Yeah, yeah, of
Really
course,
amazing.
of course.
So, yeah, talking about the Indian stereotypes, right? It's very hard to convince our family members that I want to go into this entrepreneurial journey. How did you do that? That's something every kid of this country wants to know.
Well,
How did you do that?
Mitesh, I'll be very honest that when I started, I used to take this thing very personally when someone used to negate me or put me down. You're doing wrong or you're doing something bad. Don't do it. Go follow the traditional path. Become an IS officer and follow your family's line because everybody's in civil services in my family, most of them. So but very quickly I realized their opinion, I mean, the people that really matter to you will understand what you're trying to do. And the people who are not understanding don't really matter. All right. And I'll tell you a recent example. Not recent, when I was starting the company, there was an uncle who used to come to my house every other day and used to compare me with his son and that this and that, why you're doing this. Every student does a college project in the third year. Sab karte hain, everybody does that. But how you're different? And fast forward a couple of years, that son of his applied for internship at my company. So karma is a boomerang. Your work speaks for yourself. So don't take it personally. That's what I believe. And you cannot change the mindset. Your work will. So always remember that. Your success, your work, your growth will shut people up. In a way that you can never do by just speaking or answering to them. So let the work handle it.
Once again, I'm going to take you back in time. So if you get a chance to get back in time and start once again, so what will be the changes based on your current mindset?
First of all, I'll try to, as I already mentioned, I'll try to avoid setting up a business with friends. Secondly, I'll try to not undervalue myself when I start. So I'll tell you a very important life lesson that whenever we start something, people, we try to undervalue ourselves. Okay, okay. We are small. Okay, there's a set of people who are higher than you. There is a hierarchy that you have to follow, right? But very quickly I realized, the people you admire, the companies that you admire, the success that you admire are done and achieved by people who are not different than you and me. Okay, and once you realize that, you stop undervaluing yourself. Then when you go and pitch to an investor or pitch to a crowd, pitch to an audience, the mindset changes, and then you pitch in a grand manner, and that's where the conversion takes place. The universe is always listening. So if you start thinking small when you're starting, you'll end up being small, right? So think big. So I quickly, after a couple of years, I changed my mindset, and that the fear was removed. Okay, I know what I know. I can do what I can do, and I will do what I want to do. So that mindset, when it starts to come in, that will take time because initially you will have to fight relatives, friends, and whatnot. So uska time you won't have the time to fix your mindset first, but eventually it will.
So definitely. So these are some of the changes that we all wish we could have done this, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter now. Well, there's one more interesting question that I want to know. Like, Homversity is not a very unique idea. There were certain giants. I won't take their name, JD. So, is there any computational conflict between you and the other competitions?
So I'll tell you something. Recently, Traction, first of all, JD and other names, they're online yellow pages and directories. We're not an online yellow page or directory. It's a complete booking solution. Okay, there is no
Yeah,
transactional channel on JD and other OLX, and I'll name why I'm not afraid of anyone. So, and we shouldn't be, because they're not our competitors, right?
yeah,
And when we rank higher than them in many search results organically nationwide. So I'll tell you, recently on Traction, we were rated number one worldwide when we talk about not just India, but all continents involved. So it's not about, and also it's not about finding a unique idea. Okay. It is all about how you
yeah.
execute it. So, for example, if you search for hostels in, say, Ahmedabad on JD, all right, and it will open up a page with a couple of listings, and every listing will have a description, and I can read the description out to you. It would be established in the year is a leading player of its industry. You can read it out, your audience can read it out.
Yeah,
It's the same copy paste thing, and there will be a number of a phone number. It might be generally a broker or something like that. But on Homeversity, it's a complete set of 145 set of informations. We know everything inside out about a property. We can even tell you if you're going to Dehradun and booking hostel through us, what SIM card you should carry in that room, kiska network coverage would be there. So that is the level of information we have. Not just food, veg, non-veg. What happens if the student is at the university for the afternoon lunch? Will he come back, or your food van will go? Everything, right? So there's a common saying in cities like Kota that Homeversity knows more about the hostels than the hostel owner itself, right? So it's a big difference.
Amazing.
It's a big difference. Yeah.
So certainly, it's a product that we students need. Obviously, I have also recommended some, but you are not operating in Raipur or anything.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
now, but soon, I guess.
Yes, very soon. Very
So
soon.
they have asked me, what is that one failure in the past years that turned out to be a blessing in disguise?
There were many, but I'll pick out the biggest ones. There were two hugely big failures. There is one global incubation program. I'll not name it because this is on air, but it is generally referred to as the Harvard of entrepreneurship. Okay, it's in San Francisco.
Yeah,
It's the world's biggest incubation programs, and companies like Uber, Airbnb are the products out of it. Okay, the process to get into it is extremely difficult. Like they get like 20,000 applications, they pick the top 50 or 100 out of it worldwide, right? And some one fine day, I was sitting at my place, and someone just out of a casual thought said, "Ki, why don't you apply for it?" And I was like, "Ki, we never." That's where the mindset thing is coming. And I said, "Ki,
yeah,
we will never qualify that because yeah, that's for the upper league crowd or companies which are bigger than us, right?" But I applied
yeah,
after rigorous round. I prepared a lot for it. And when the first interview happened, I somehow qualified for the first round. All right. Then I qualified for the second round. Then I qualified for the third round. And then that's how I qualified for multiple rounds, right? And the final email for the top 50 selected companies worldwide, that's called, it is referred as the golden email in the startup world. It says, Ki, hi, we find your idea promising and we would love to meet you in person. So see you in San Francisco. Okay, that's the mail. See you in San Francisco is what every major startup founder is waiting to get. And I got that email just a month prior to COVID. Okay. And it was a heartbreak for me at that point in time. But what happened? After 3-4 months, mid COVID, we raised another round of funds, which was on a valuation thrice of what we would have got over there. Right. So that gave us a lot of learnings. Okay. So before going to that particular interview process, I used to believe that I'm a very good orator. I can handle a crowd of say 20,000 people because I had in my previous
mm-hmm,
sessions, right? But when I went there, I realized, okay, there's yet a lot to learn because a lot of questions I had no idea about. So, and using that learnings, I raised another rounds of funds, which was way bigger, way higher valuation. The same thing happened again. Another big global organization approached us and they wanted to invest in us and take a chunk of what we're doing in terms of equity. And we spent 9 months on that entire process. At the end, when we were supposed to sign and make the money exchange, Ukraine Russia war happened, and the company was based in Ukraine. So,
Wow.
so that is how the headquarters was in Ukraine. The company was based out of London, but the founders were from Ukraine, and the entire thing crashed. Right. So, post that again, it was a very so. Just think that 9 months of your continuous rigorous efforts goes to waste. How would you feel, right? So, but after a couple of months, we again raised another round of funds, again at a valuation way too bigger than what we were getting in that Ukraine UK deal, right? So that's what I've learned, that when something is not meant for you, you will not get it, because something is better already is in the pipeline for you. So just wait it out. Just hold on to your guts that whatever is happening for a reason, and that reason is generally good for most of the people. Most of the people, all right. So have that faith. Yeah.
I love the quote that you just said. I had that philosophical and technical combination there. It was just amazing.
Okay.
I just love that quote. There is one more question that I want to ask. There must be some very stressful days, right? So, what are your ways to de-stress yourself? What do you do?
I live in a dry state, so it eliminates a lot of options. But and by the way, I don't drink. But it's just a joke. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do any other things like that. But so when we talk about stress, the one thing I love the most is playing video games at night with my friends. I still do that. There have been times when I have came out of a tiring and a tedious board meeting, and it's 7:30 in the evening. I'm so tired that I so flustered that I cannot do anything, and I have went back home and called my friends and started playing video games, right? And for the next 3-4 hours, it was a complete reboot for my brain. So I still do that. I was playing yesterday night after a bad meeting happened, so I know how to that reboots. Friends are the best kind of stress relievers for you. So have right friends, play with them. There's no shame and pity in playing video games with friends, and I'm very confident about it. I'm very comfortable publicly saying that.
There is one more question that I wanted to ask you personally many times, but somewhere I was quite skeptical about it. But now I'm going to ask it, and I hope the audience will get something out of it. Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I don't. I don't have a girlfriend.
In the past?
Yeah, I had.
In the past.
I had. But what I realized, the track of my life is very different than the 99.9% of the people. I always say that there's 0.1% of the people in this world who make those company in which the rest 99.9% population is working in, right? So my life is already way too flamboyant, way too ups and downs, and way too occupied, that I sometimes end up not being available where I should be, and I don't want to, defy people's expectations towards me. So it's better to not have people who have expectations from you, because I already have a lot of people. So I don't want to add one more category on that list.
Yeah.
So no.
Extending that question, when do you think is the right time for it, based on your life?
Honestly, the phase of girlfriends are gone. It's time to get married, probably a couple of years down the line.
Wow.
Because now I see that happening, because it's all about finding the right person. And if you have that person, stick around, right? And the era of casual dating is over, I guess. Yeah.
If you weren't a founder, what would be your profession right now?
2 options. I give 2 options to myself. Either I would have been in the civil services, okay, because I have a very high pain tolerance index, and I have a very high capacity to sit and work on something. I can sit for 3 days straight and finish up a work, right, without getting irritated. So that's what my brain has been trained in the past few years. The other one, I would have been a pilot.
Like personally, I see you as one of my biggest inspirations and one of my mentors. But you must have got someone else, right?
Yeah.
Who is your biggest inspiration or biggest mentor here?
So inspiration and mentors are two different things. So I'll talk about mentors first. So I'm very fortunate to have some good mentors. First of all, one of them is Captain J.N. Chopra. He has been with me since 2019 and has guided me and standed with me no matter what, right? And always been there. He's a big real estate tycoon and an ex-army captain, and a big name in the this real estate segment we are in. Another one is Mr. Kedar Dave. He is one of our investors. Uh, he has been there with the right set of feedback throughout. No matter it is good or bad. If I've done something wrong, he'll be the first one to tell me I'm wrong, right? And then there are people like Mr. Varun Gajjar who invested the first check in Homversity, and I still love his work ethic. And the one thing I've learned in Gujarat is that ethical business is the one that goes the long way. Like the companies like Tata, right? So I believe in ethics. I believe in building that rapport that you do something for the country eventually, and it's not just about the personal wealth creation. It's all about India's development at whatever scale you can do and contribute. So, yeah, I have a lot of mentors, and I've been fortunate. So, in my phone book, I think my phone's net worth is more than mine. So that's what my greatest asset is. That one phone call can get any work done and get me the rightest of the feedbacks and the suggestions, and that's what I believe. When we talk about inspiration, I am a big follower of late Steve Jobs and his ideology towards creating a segment which was never existed but had the vision that one day it will, based on the pattern and the development and things like that, and the focus towards quality and creating something valuable. So he's the biggest inspiration. Whenever I'm low, I watch his movies all the time. Yeah, yeah, and read his books.
Since you have shown me your phone right now, who is the most famous person or renowned person in your contact list right now?
There are many. Famous and renowned would be based on a lot of things. So I have numbers from the biggest investors in the country to some of the biggest investment houses in the country to one of the biggest stars in the country. So I have the numbers. And
Name some.
no, I cannot
Name
that,
some.
that would not be fair. That would not be fair to name people. Yeah.
Okay, give us some hint. Like people should understand, not directly, but give us some hints.
Celebrities you watch on OTTs very frequently, from investors you
Okay.
watch on the television and coming in seminars and giving suggestions. So everybody in that group.
Like you have already mentioned, like one of your biggest inspiration is Steve Jobs, right? But if other than Steve Jobs, if you get a chance to meet a person, dead or alive, who will it be?
I would like to meet Mr. Elon Musk. I like his crazy
Elon
attitude.
Musk.
Yeah, I was very close to meeting him once, but was not able to. But that's the plan. Anytime soon, probably. We'll love to hear what the next part of his plan is. He has already reached Mars. What next? So I want to, because that's where I have learned that people like him are defying the status quo, that they are doing the work in the way they want, not the way the world wants them to work. Right. So I like that. I want to learn from him a lot of things. But it's a far-fetched thing. Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
There's one more question.
Mm.
I know you won't reveal it, but I want you to give some hints.
Mm.
Okay. I want you to give some hints. So, how much is your salary?
What do you think? Achha, you make a guess. I'll say close or not close.
Okay. So far I've met a lot of founders. So they take a very less salary, but the company covers all their travel expenses and everything. So if I have to count, I'll go for 50,000.
So for the past
INR.
4 years, I have not taken any salary, but 2020 onwards, I started taking salary, and you're not close.
Higher or lower?
You're lower.
I am lower. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1.2 lakhs.
You're still a little lower, but
Okay. So something close to 2, I guess.
let's leave it here. It's no point of discussion anymore.
Ask a girl about her age or ask a founder about their salary. They both hide it.
It's a bad thing to do, right? Yeah.
if you have to give advice to young college students or the young entrepreneurs who are starting right now, what will be that?
Don't do it just for the glittery things that you see online. It is
Hmm.
not about making a lot of money overnight. It is not about driving fancy cars, living in great hotels, and traveling all around. My Instagram message box is filled with people like, "Oh, great life. I wish I would have a capacity to travel as much as you do. Oh, you stay in five-star hotels. Oh, you went to that event. Oh, you met that people." But it's not about that. So I just want to tell people who are starting, don't get tempted by the fancy things that you see online, because you were not there for the past 5 years when I didn't used to post anything. I used to live in a very small place, travel India with auto rickshaws, have as less money as a college student at this point of time in my bank account. So uh, focus on the cause, focus on having a modest ambition. And is your solution solving a real problem or not? If so, you will make money, you will get rich, you will be successful, but these are all the byproducts of it. These should not be the target. They should be the results of the target, reaching that target. Target should be creating something that would be there even when you're not around. So that's the plan. And if you are very sure that you're doing something, and it's all right if you don't know everything about what you're doing, but have modest ambitions. Don't chase the season's trending thing, right? Focus on the long-term vision. Otherwise, what you'll do is you'll change your plans every new trend in the market, and you'll end up not doing anything. So be very focused towards what you want to do and have a long-term vision. It is not going to happen in 2 3 years. It will take 5 6 years for sure.
I guess there is one more bit of questions. Like, do you feel like this startup and entrepreneurial culture is quite overrated right now? Like every other person that you'll find is trying their ways to go into this industry and everything.
The
So do you
problem.
think like is it happening or not?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, ये Shark Tank का ज़माना है. Okay, this is the Shark Tank world, the era we're living in. And what it has done is that it has made startups the dinner table conversation. Okay, and when something becomes a dinner table conversation, just like Big Boss, every kid wants to go to Big Boss, and that is why every other guy wants to be called as a startup founder or an entrepreneur. But as I mentioned, it is a generation of influencers more than entrepreneurs, right? So uh, this trend might go up and down, but if you're chasing a cause which is way bigger than some instant popularity or some followers on LinkedIn or Instagram, you will end up doing something really big. So don't chase as I mentioned, don't chase the hot topic of the day. Chase the topic you chose to devote your life towards.
A lot of people who is watching this can take notes like how to choose the right influence, how to choose the right circle, and how to choose the right path or everything. So I guess we are done with the questions with the founder and CEO of Homversity, Saurav Kumar Sinha. It was amazing having you in this podcast and
Likewise.
looking forward to bring you more. I hope you come again and again and again and we can get some really good insights, really good things from you. So thank you so much for joining us in this podcast, Saurav, and looking forward